Ever since borders were closed to Victoria, New South Wales and the ACT, many people across the business community have been calling for them to be reopened immediately. We do know that there's definitely been a shift in rhetoric from the PM. Early on, he said it was up to the state premiers and chief ministers to decide on border closures. But now, today, he'll be looking for a nationally consistent approach to interstate travel, particularly when it comes to the business community. We do know, Pete, that there is a slight travel bubble in place for border communities on the Gold Coast Tweed region. But as a classic example, it could be, say there'd be a farmer in the Gold Coast who has land in Ballina. That person couldn't tend to, say, cattle or crops there, and many people are simply struggling with this. So many farming families struggling as well with those restrictions in place. I caught up with the Toowoomba Mayor earlier in the week who said even things like boarding students at, say, Toowoomba Grammar can't go back and visit their family members. Some of these kids are, 12, 13 years old, and they're trapped in their boarding homes, not being able to see their families. So today it really will be about having a nationally consistent approach to this. We know Alan Joyce, the Qantas CEO, says that a number of these closures are really politically motivated, and he is calling for more clarity when it comes to that intra and interstate travel to keep the economy going and back up and running again. So no doubt, Pete, definitely some robust conversation coming out of National Cabinet today.
And Brendan, contact tracing is continuing today after 2 confirmed cases of the virus yesterday.
Yes, so more than 600 people right now are awaiting COVID-19 test results. That's at the Wakehole Youth Detention Centre after an elderly worker tested positive to the virus. That's a 77-year-old woman from Ipswich. Contact tracing is now underway to see exactly where this woman could have caught the virus. At the moment right now, we really don't know where the virus is from. The Chief Health Officer hasn't ruled out, though, whether or not this woman came into contact with businesses that were visited by those 2 women who travelled to Melbourne and then came back to Queensland without self-quarantining. We know the second active case that is now in Japan. There is major contact tracing underway there. The woman flew from Japan back into Brisbane where she was negative, but then testing positive once she returned back to Japan. She flew from Brisbane through to Sydney, then into Japan where she tested positive. So, Pete, definitely plenty happening today in Queensland.